He rode round the country promising more cash, and today he was set to park his demands on the cabinet table. A Brexit bonanza to take back control of our struggling NHS. But an extra £100 million per week of his money, well, that was news to the Chancellor.
Well, Mr Johnson is the Foreign Secretary. I gave the Health Secretary an extra £6 billion at the recent budget, and we'll look at departmental allocations again at the spending review when that takes place.
Do you want to be the Chancellor, Foreign Secretary?
Perhaps he had his eye on a bigger promotion as Boris Johnson arrived at number 10, hoping to push the Prime Minister into a deal and please his cabinet colleagues.
How are we doing?
Not to mention backbench Conservatives dealing with a winter crisis that's fast becoming a political one.
None of our patients are moving quickly.
With ITV News following the pressures at hospitals like the Royal Berkshire since November. But if he came here hoping for a slap on the back, well, it was more like a slap in the face. The Cabinet did discuss the NHS for over an hour. They shared one key concern, that he'd been leaking his views. The Prime Minister told him she'd already promised more money once we leave the EU. Even the Health Secretary didn't sweeten the medicine as Boris Johnson was put in his place.
Have you managed to persuade the Prime Minister, Foreign Secretary?
You could read the answer on his face as he retreated back to his own department, leaving others to face the fallout.
Was there any discussion of the NHS this morning, Defence Secretary?
Just mind your back.
Just going across the road.
What was Boris Johnson's intervention like on the NHS?
We had a very good full discussion at the Cabinet, and there's nothing else to add to that at the moment.
Later, the Health Secretary did add a little more as he faced questions from MPs, this time seeming to forgive his new friend.
I don't think any Health Secretary is ever going to not support potential extra resources for his or her department.
Does it not feel rather odd, though, that you're the Health Secretary and it was the Foreign Secretary who was making these comments public and getting his people to brief them out for 2 days running?
Well, as I say, I'm not going to comment about what happened in the Cabinet meeting, but let's say that there's a Brexit debate and there's an NHS debate, and just occasionally those two debates come together.
How did it go, Foreign Secretary?
Truth is, not particularly well, but it's too late to shut the gate once Boris has bolted. Paul Brandt, ITV News, Westminster.